a novel decision support tool. I'd like to call to the floor Dr. Nayana. You may begin.
So, greetings from India, chairpersons and the delegates. This I'll be talking about maximizing IVF success rates, optimize stimulation using novel decision protocol support system. We know controlled ovarian stimulation is one of the main factors for reproductive ART cycles, and FSH and LH play a synergistic role in folliculogenesis. And the time is now that we have to have a customized protocol for each patient to have maximum success and minimum complications. Our aim is to recruit uniform cohort of follicles, prevent the LH surge which can be premature, avoid OHSS, even less of injections, good endometrial receptivity so that we can still go for a frozen transfer with a fresh transfer, with a cost-effective cycle. And when we start the stimulation, BMI, age, AFC, AMH are the main things that we look at, and the dosage is decided mainly on the clinician's expertise and what they have been using. We classify the patient as a normo, hypo, hyper, poor responder. Then we select the gonadotropin type dosage, the analog protocol, and finally monitoring is required and whether to perform fresh or frozen. For the monitoring, we do ultrasound and if required, hormonal assays in between. We monitor a cycle so that we know that the treatment is adequate to ideally decide the trigger shot time to prevent the complications if they are happening at an early stage. Now, this superovulation personalized model is a novel idea of correlating follicle growth in superovulation to particle growth in crystallization. Whenever there is a substrate crystallization that happens, has been applied to the follicle growth. And this will customize the model for each patient for the customized drug dosage. So how does this work? On day 1 or 2, when the patient comes, you have to enter the day 2 follicular data. I'll tell you how we enter, and the hormonal data basic. From there, we will get the parameter values and we will get the initial dosage. Day 5 again, you call the patient and measure the follicles, enter it. The moment dynamic model will give us the dosage right up to the day of trigger and when to add the antagonist. So the first one is the nomogram, where we add the AMH, FSH and age of the patient, the initial dosage we will get. And we use the heuristic where we use AMH, AFC and age and the initial dosage for first 4 days. Decide the agonist and antagonist protocol before, that is also entered. So this is the first thing that when you enter it, you have to enter age, AMH, AFC, and then you enter whether it's agonist, antagonist, and then day 1 data. But the follicle that you enter, each and every follicle is measured, and it is 0 to 4 millimeter, 4 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. And total number of follicles in both the ovaries are counted. And that number is entered. So like this, the patient's first visit, I want to go back. The first visit, when you enter all this, the AMH, age, FSH, and you enter the follicles, like 0 to 4 there were 10 follicles, 4 to 8 there were 3 follicles, and so on. You will get the dosage that 225 IU of the drug is needed. Give the patient call on day 5. On day 5, again you just count the follicles on the ultrasound. How many are 0 to 4? Naturally the 0 to 4 will go down because they have started growing, so maybe 1 or 2. 4 to 8 could be 10. 8 to 12 could be 2. Enter that data and you will get the protocol for next 6 days. It will say that add the antagonist on day 5 or day 6. Go for the same dosage for 2 more days. reduce the dosage on 8 from 225 to 187.5. Day 10 and day 11 would be the trigger. You give the trigger and call the patient. I'm sure all of us will get little jittery because we don't know how this will work. The output we have seen is that the estradiol keeps on increasing, the smaller follicles also keep growing, and the dosage that is required goes down. So, which validated this particular model first with 20 to 22 patients on conventional stimulation, what the clinician thought, and the Opp.IVF that we utilized. And we compared the hormone dosages, number of oocytes, M2 oocytes, and high quality embryo. And we concluded that the dosage requirement reduced by 30%, the M2 numbers were high, the good quality embryos were high. In the next, we again compared 50-50 patients on each arm. And there we also saw up to the pregnancy rates, and the pregnancy rates were higher. We also compared the PCO, poor responder and normal responders in this, and in all the three groups the results were better with the Opp.IVF stimulation protocol rather than the conventional which the clinician would decide. And when we were doing this trial for the first time, as a clinician and a 2.5 decades of experience in IVF, when on day 5, the patient is showing 8, 9, about 10 follicles on each side, and the Opp.IVF will suggest now from 225 go down to 187.58 and add antagonist. As a clinician, my judgment would have been that no, I continue the same or slightly increase the dose because on day 5 I am not seeing what I wanted to see. But when we followed this protocol and after doing this 225, add antagonist 2 more days and then reducing the dosage and calling patients straight. Initial trial we used to call alternate day, now we call straight on day 10 only. We could see that the follicles are growing, and this is a mathematical procedure that has been used based on the chemistry and the moment. It is said that the follicle is a small molecular atom, whatever you call, and the movement of a small follicle is faster than a larger follicle in size. And based on that, which follicle will grow and attract the gonadotropin and how much will it attract, it is decided. So this retrospective analysis, we completed now 91 patients on both the arms. It was at random selection. We did not specify any age or any PCO, poor responders or male factor. At random, the patients were selected for Opt or for non-Opt, conventional stimulation. And out of these 91 patients, we also compared in the age group, whether in the advanced age there is any difference in the outcome, number of oocytes and quality of oocytes and embryos. We found out that the patient distribution in both the arms, Opp.IVF and non-Opt, conventional stimulation, was almost the same, less than 35, 35 to 39 and 40 to 45. Then we compared the oocyte retrieved, which was not significantly but marginally higher with the Opp.IVF. The M2s were almost the same. The total embryo formation, I would say same, but when we saw the grade A embryos, they were 3.36 in the test compared to 2.3 in the control. And when we compared the pregnancy outcomes, the pregnancy rates in less than 35 years were almost 56% with the Opt group versus the conventional, which was 45. In the 35 to 39 group, it was 52 compared to 37. In 40 to 45 years of age group, it was 33% with the Opt compared to just 12% with the conventional stimulation. And overall, we had almost 54% success rate with the Opp.IVF stimulation compared to 41% with the conventional stimulation. So this Opp.IVF stimulation, which helps in 2 ways. 1, it reduces the dosage. 2, because the dosage is reduced, the endometrial receptivity remains better. It's still not the time that we go for all frozen transfer. Fresh transfers are still the need of the hour, and we do it and we are happy with the results. And this gives you an opportunity to do a fresh transfer. We have done this in a PCO patient also with minimal support. and it is customized and personalized. Only thing is that if the BMI is very high, you can add 75 IU of the gonadotropin more. Otherwise, you can stick to whatever it says, and the reducing dosage from day 8. There are studies which shows that estradiol does not affect the oocyte quality or the embryo quality. It's one and done and you finish it. But there is definitely some impact of higher estradiol level on the oocyte and the embryo quality. We would now like to still take it further, doing PGTA on the embryos of opt versus non-opt cycle. We have the data, but we are still analyzing it. It reduces the drug dosage. It gives an opportunity for fresh transfer. Reducing the testing. This is what is required when patients are coming from remote areas, or in the COVID times we could not call them. So this would be very helpful when on day 5 you can give them the full protocol and call them on the day of egg retrieval. Newer clinicians who are coming up and who are confused with what dosage to start can just go to the website, enter this and get the dosage protocol. Or when we ourselves are confused that first cycle we did not respond well and get good qualities of embryos in spite of getting having a good patient, we can use this. And the dysynchronous cohort of eggs when we are seeing, this protocol is very helpful. Grade A embryos on day 3 and day 5 are significantly higher with higher pregnancy rates, and the observations are significant with all age group. Thank you, and with this end.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. That was a very interesting study. I'd like to open the floor now for questions from the group. Okay, if there are none, I'd like to shoot the first one while they're thinking. I'm interested in how you validated this tool, and did you use a standard to validate it against with?
Yeah, so we have these 2 publications. The first one, when we started it, that was a trial done by the group on some 10 patients, and then they validated it based on those trials. After that, we did a retrospective analysis which was double-blinded. Which patient opt and which patient conventional was just at random selection. And the third was a randomized control trial that we did, and that was the 50-50 patients that we did. So the second and the third publications are already up on Journal of IVF Worldwide.
Okay, interesting. And then you also mentioned in the last part that sometimes because we try to synchronize the cohort in the prior cycle and we still see this asynchronous cohort, and you mentioned that this protocol can potentially help the smaller ones catch up with the bigger ones.
Yes.
So what is the principle behind that? Because the impetus is to add some more, and your algorithm is saying we decrease.
They decrease.
Yes.
So that is the mathematics. If you want to read in detail, it's there. The mathematics, we have three previous publications, and the chemistry based on it. So here what it says that it is the momentum that they have captured, and that has been subjected to a mathematical algorithm, that what will be the momentum of this follicle size, the follicle distribution size. That's why a larger follicle you cannot ignore, you have to enter. But then based on that, this gives us a dosage which will help the smaller follicles grow. And in my experience, after doing 91 patients, we always feel that one follicle has grown, the others are lagging behind, let us increase the dose. But it is just the reverse, add antagonist and reduce the dosage, and the bigger follicle doesn't grow that big, but the smaller follicles catch up with the bigger follicle. There are 10 cycles that they are freely offering everyone to use it, and if you can use those 10 for such patients, you will get an idea that how it works.
Very interesting. Prof, you have a question?
Thank you. Very unique spatial study. But I just 2 questions. One question is about the spatial tool, how based on computer or statistic or other tool design. The first question. Another question, you suggest that you are using your tool. The most important step is which one? For example, the start to treatment, or first visit your clinical, or trigger day. So which one is the very important?
Point in this. Yes, the first is there is little bit of artificial intelligence also over here, but mainly it is the chemistry, physics and the mathematics of the follicles, how they grow, how they work compared to the what I call the physical substrate dissolution. For example, they have studied that if you dissolve sugar in water and then after 1 week it is totally dissolved, you put a string and you can see some particles attaching on that string, the dried sugar. So that way they have compared the gonadotropin's action, the chemical reaction on the follicle and given a mathematical formula to it. We also analyze the learning machines that are there, artificial learning machines, but that is only based on the existing data. So it can give you the initial dosage, but it is not on a validated clinical trial. This is a clinical validated trial, so we can give you customized protocol right at the end. The artificial learning machine will not give you that. We can give you the trigger based on our clinical trial experience and the validation. There it is only on the existing data. Though it is said that your trigger day you can decide, because trigger day many times you want to avoid a Sunday, or maybe you feel that you still need one more day, whatever it is on the past experience that, but normally you don't need that. 95% of the patients you don't need to manipulate that also. So that is the first answer. And the most important part over here I feel is starting dose, yes, you can decide. But from day 5, when there is a confusion, that should I increase, should I reduce, should I wait for one more day of antagonist, and that is the time when what you think you write down and what the Opp.IVF gives, if it is different, follow the Opp.IVF, because reducing the dosage, we are very scared. It is not at all scary. By reducing the dosage, you are reducing the drug and you are improving the quality of the embryo. That is the lesson that I learned after doing 90 patients on each arm.
Okay, congratulations. But final question, is this open to everyone, the program, or is it patented?
No, it is open to everyone.
Oh, okay.
I can share the link, and
Okay.
the first 10 trial patients are free of cost.
Oh, okay.
So anybody wants to get some confidence can use that for their patients and decide.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Patel, and congratulations. So that brings to a close our session for this afternoon, and you may proceed to the next activity.